He booted 5, McAdam. Let's have a look at 3 of those.
A goal coming up here. He hooks it back. He puts it through for his second. Umpire calls play on. Here's McAdam from the boundary line. Tucks it under.
Very, very exciting player to watch. And a great running goal. It was crunch time for both the Pies and the Saints. Just ask Michael Christian or Danny Frawley.
Danny Frawley met him head on.
Or maybe Bingham and Brown.
Still going, Bingham. Bumped off the ball.
There's a clash of heads now. Brown's down and so's Bingham. We can hear it up here.
It bounces through the pack. Road
But the action continued. Road to Brown.
2 in 30 seconds.
Goes for the hand pass.
The Saints just kept on going. Look at Nicky Winmar. Mighty goal on the run.
Kicks. Oh, I think he's goal. The Saints are home.
Peter was quite right. The Saints were home. Norton, his forwards, suggesting they must work a little harder if the Eagles are going to emulate their feats of last year. Now, Cornsey over in Adelaide is upset that Essendon are going over to play Port Adelaide when both of those clubs have got a bye at Football Park. He's saying, I bet they wouldn't let us come over and play at the MCG or Waverley Park when we have a bye. And, of course, the Herald Sun here in Melbourne, Scotty Palmer is suggesting that the Right Honourable the Mr Winmar is going to be in charge of the next government, which is probably not as silly as it seems anyway. On the subject of that, good morning, Scotty.
Good morning, Sandy. Terrific day.
Yeah, well, he had a big day, didn't he, Nick Winmar?
Yeah, terrific day. Of course, Collingwood were upset at the fact that they had to double up in 5 days' time. And I spoke to the league today, and they said, look, we've tried to work out a draw that's going to satisfy...
Are they getting a tough deal?
Well, I don't think they are. It's going to happen to a number of clubs through the year. They felt that, you know, they had to buckle up on Monday in a tough game and then buckle up again yesterday. But the league, one league wag said today, Sandy, if they had wanted to play a 6th day, why don't they play at the MCG today against the St Kilda and there wouldn't have been any problems?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
But it's the second time in 3 games that the Collingwood team have lost at the Victoria Park, so it suggests that they might be preferring to play at the MCG, the players.
What about the Saints? They've got a couple of... they've got a few problems, haven't they? Injuries and report.
Yeah, Robert Harvey, he's done a quad muscle in his left leg, which is different to the 2 he had earlier in the season on his other leg. Now, he'll be out for 4 or 5 weeks. It's going to be a bit of a loss for the Saints over the next couple of weeks, particularly against Carlton. Greg's got a hamstring. He'll be missed for 3 weeks. Now, the Frawley report, they said those 2 players collected at exactly the same time, and had Frawley pulled out, he would have been fronting the match committee and not the tribunal down there at St
That'd be
Kilda.
worse, I think.
That's exactly right.
What about Melbourne, mate? They're not having a lot of joy at the moment. And Jimmy Steins, I think, had played, what, 136 games straight?
Yeah, terrific.
Now he's gone.
Yes, he's gone from 4 to 6 weeks. Nietzsche ran into him yesterday, and he's going to... It's done cartilage damage as well as rib damage, so it could be a long haul for Jimmy. They said just as well Nietzsche wasn't reported because he could have been sort of up before a charge for knocking down his teammate. And
plenty of joy down at Cardinia Park, despite not having Mark Bairstow, who was a late withdrawal yesterday.
Yeah, running in the sand pit the other night. He pulled a hamstring. He decided not to play, but they changed their philosophy on the game. They gave away the defensive role a little bit, went for the ball more, and Greg Durham pulled an old poster from the Sunday Age. I must give the opposition a bit of a mention.
That's very nice.
Off the wall, stuck it in the players' room, and all it said was goals, goals, goals. And it was there for the week, and I think it did a bit of a trick for them.
That was probably during that rampage early last season when they went berserk. Paul Kelly, is he going to play this afternoon?
Definitely play despite the broken hand. I'm assured by the Swans that he will front on the ground. It'll be an unchanged side.
Now, look, time's against us, but I want to show you a tape. But first of all, remember what Steve Kernahan's done in the past couple of weeks. Some would suggest that he lost the game, which is really not right, when he kicked out of bounds and the match was drawn. But then he came back the following week, kicked a mighty goal late in the game, and the Blues got up against the Hawks. There's a gentleman over in Western Australia by the name of Joe Smith. Now, Joe may have a bit of a hearing problem, although the crowd could have been against him. He didn't hear the siren, but he had an opportunity to give Claremont the premiership points. They were trailing when the siren had sounded by 2 points. But Joe, well, have a look at this.
He's at half-forward right. He's 60 metres out. They'll need a mark. Is he going all the way himself? He's kicked. Joe Smith can mark and has. So now there's another chance. Titular claiming he touched the football.
Well, Smith hasn't had a touch for 2 quarters.
Against Craig McNaughton, he's done very well. And now the siren's gone. So Smith from deep in the right full forward pocket. He's only 25 metres out. can win the game for Claremont with a goal. A point won't be enough. It's 90 plays 88 with the Tigers behind. It's a great shot of the kick.
He's creeping round. He's creeping round.
He stabbed at the... He tried to pass the ball. Unbelievably tried to pass the ball.
What did he try and do?
He tried to pass the football.
Oh, golly. Well, he tried to pass the ball. They've lost the game. But Joe, like Kerners, has made amends.
Last night at the Wagga, under lights, Claremont are playing in a big game. The scores are locked together. Joe gets a kick, 50 metres out, pops it through and draws the game. So he's been sort of, he's got his revenge, and he's not a bad player. They say he could be in the draft next year.
Excellent. Scotty, keep punching.
Good on you, mate.
Talk to you next week. Scott Palmer, we'll take a break and be with the panel this week.
Well, I just want to congratulate my friend here, actually.
What's he done now?
Do you remember 40 years ago, yesterday, Ron?
No, I don't, Bob.
You don't?
Well, you tell us, God.
Was the first day that you graced the VFL arena.
Was it really?
Round 4 in 1953.
That cost me £50
Yeah.
to get a game.
And not only that, Ron, guess where you sat?
On the bench.
That's right. Did you get on, Ron?
I got in the last 10 minutes and did not get a sniff. Not a
Well, one man who certainly did not sit on the bench yesterday and he's been in sensational form is Nathan Burke. The Saints recording a 22-point victory over Collingwood. It wasn't their first win since '76. It was over the Pies, but you have beaten Fitzroy out of Victoria Park. Well done, Nathan. How are the legs this morning?
Not too bad, Sandy. It was pretty hot yesterday, and it was actually good to get onto a smaller ground. So I think the wind makes it all worthwhile.
Actually, I don't know whether Kenny's going into poetry or what it is, but I was fascinated to read this quote this morning that he said to you after the game. I don't know if perhaps you're going hiking or something. You could enlighten me. When Ken said to you after the game, "You can kick up a rumpus, but don't lose the compass."
Yeah, Kenny did say that. He often comes out with little quotes like that, but we don't know where he gets them from. I think he's got a quote book somewhere that he...
And Nathan, you've been at St Kilda quite some few years now, and you're a very experienced player. Was this probably, your best win you've been in, apart from perhaps a final?
I think after the game I said to one reporter that probably the 3 best games that I've played in would be beating Collingwood in the final last year, beating Collingwood at Victoria Park this year, and beating them by a point at the MCG last year.
Is that coincidental?
Yeah, it just seems to, when we play Collingwood, that the crowds are big and it's always a close game.
Nathan, it was interesting you said just a moment ago it was good to get back onto a smaller ground. Is the Waverley ground finding, is it difficult out there? Is it too big for you, or what do you feel?
Some players around the club like the big ground. I prefer the smaller ground. I like playing at Moorabbin, but Waverley's our ground now, and the last few weeks it's suited our style of play now. But after being on the big ground for 2 weeks, I was looking forward to having a run around on a smaller ground.
That's just the workload, is it?
Yeah. You just to make space, you just got to run a lot further and to chase people and get from one wing to the other. If the ball changes quickly, you just got to run a bit further.
Nathan, congratulations on a fantastic game yourself personally, but the performance of the 2 Aboriginal boys, particularly Winmar, I think he would now be almost regarded as the best player in the competition. Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. Nicky's got his confidence up now. He's probably, the 4 games we've played, he'd be in the best 2 in every game, and his confidence up, and really there's no stopping him when he gets in that frame of mind.
Gilbert?
And Gilbert, a couple of Collingwood players had a word to Gilbert before the game started, and it got him fired up, and he was on a bit of a mission, and I don't think they'll be doing that next time we play Collingwood.
We talk about Nicky Winmar being in the best 2. I've seen you at 3 out of 4 games this year, and I reckon you're in the best 4. I reckon you've just done a fantastic job. The transition to become a rover, has it been much? Because you've just slotted in naturally.
I roved our 5 practice matches we had, so Kenny just said, look, we'll take it week by week, and if you keep improving and get the hang of it, well, the spot's there for you. So he gave me enough chances to make it my own, and with injuries to Brody Atkinson, who broke his arm in the first game, we were a little bit short of rovers, so it was a case of have to, or go back to the back pocket.
Now, Gilbert McAdam, Peter just mentioned him before. I've never seen him run and chase like he did. But, you know, they can run, they go through the motions of guys, but he actually laid tackles. Winmar can do it week after week. But Gilbert did it yesterday. Is that the first time?
Yeah, that's probably the best sort of chasing and harassing game I think I've seen Gilbert play. He not only, when he gets it, you know what he's like. He's very hard to tackle and he'll kick the goals from anywhere. But the way that he got the ball was very impressive yesterday.
Nathan, stay with us for a moment. Incidentally, if you need any weight work done down at the club, Don at the moment is giving Peter McKenna weight training lessons. So it could be an interest.
For my poor posture, he says.
I think he used a different word, but we won't worry about that at the moment. Ron, your votes from Victoria Park yesterday.
Yes, well, two Aboriginal boys we've been talking about were definitely amongst the best. I think Winmar is probably the best-looking footballer to watch when he's in full flight, but I thought McAdam's game yesterday deserved him the 3 votes. He was fantastic in the first half, and that's when St Kilda kept in the game, and then later on in the game took over. So Winmar, 2 votes, and Nathan Burke, our guest today, 1 vote. He played a very, very good game.
Now, Brass, how did St Kilda counter the mosquito fleet of Collingwood?
Well, I think they took a very positive approach. It wasn't so much tagging or anything like that that brought the
They won the ball, didn't they?
Collingwood running brigade down. I think they felt the 5-day gap thing. You know, they've had 5 days, and Kilda's had 7. Also, both games with Collingwood have played a bit hot days, so it makes a bit of a difference.
Did the rucks have an influence on it?
I thought probably Monkhurst just might have shaded, but there wasn't much in the ruck. All the work was done at ground level. Not many of the high flyers dominated their aerial duels or anything like that. Pert didn't do bad at full back in that area.
Ron, didn't you think it made a big difference when Frawley went on to Rocco, and Rocco was causing Jamie Shanahan a lot of problems and really shut down Collingwood's forward line?
Well, I think the ball got there enough in a good enough way for you to say that completely. The change was on it, and the change was made correctly. St Kilda, full marks to St Kilda, because they've been without Lockett, and then they lose Harvey, who was their biggest possession getter, when he went off. So that was a hell of an effort. But
you were saying that Collingwood didn't come up because of the 5 days St Kilda.
No, I'm saying that would be a factor.
Well, surely the training should have been regulated to come up. That is not an excuse, because Collingwood had the chance. They got within 1 kick, and they didn't win the ball when the ball had to be won.
Yeah, because I think they
perhaps it's a mental factor, Don. They haven't got time.
Well, if you're not mentally tough enough to play the game, don't play it.
Geelong played last Monday, by the way.
Since Shaw started to play, Don, the running factor, the recovery factor needed between games is greater.
That's right, and we also played night games through the week as well on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night.
Surely in these days of modern athleticism and training, the coach should be able to work it out for 5 days.
Hey, the coach...
It's not that, is it? Is it the body that can't...
The body.
The body can't accept it.
Just my opinion, and I think it's a very unfair part of the draw, the same as not playing each other twice or just the once is unfair. We've got to get to some sort of draw.
You're on the rules committee, Ron.
It's got nothing to do with the rules committee, mate.
But the game's marketed differently, isn't it, nowadays?
We understand all that.
Why don't they play Monday night? They seem to play any other day. Why don't they all have a few days
I'm just trying to say that a team that has had 5 days to recover should play a team that's had 6 or 5 themselves, if they can organise it.
Now, Nathan, you're a player. What do you think about this 5-day v. the 7-day recovery?
Would you play Monday night?
I'd play, any time.
Because he's mentally tough.
But do you think that the extra 2 days is a significant factor?
It can be. If you've got a niggling injury, I know Thursday night might be hard to train, then by Saturday you're right, but like Collingwood, they had 9 days to get over the game the week before. But I think if you're sensible about it during the week with your training, that it certainly does help.
Exactly right.
Nathan, thank you for joining us today on Sportsworld. Good luck out at Waverley. You might need a compass out at Waverley Park next week, might you?
Might do, yes.
Take on the Blues, but all the best for the remainder of the season.
Thank you.
Nathan Burke joining us on Sportsworld. We'll take a break. More shortly. Yes, thank you, Ron. We'll check the progressive now, and Greg Williams of Carlton is leading the way at the moment with 8 votes. Leon Cameron of Footscray and Gilbert McAdam of St Kilda are close behind, just 2 behind. They're on a 6, and a number of players on 5, namely Chris McDermott, Nicholas Winmar and Buddha, all on 5.
Who?
Buddha. When he was a young child, he used to sit in front of the television, legs and arms crossed, and he was overweight.
They'd refer to the religious
contest.
It's not his religion, but Buddha, that's how Buddha in the religion used to sit.
How did he sit, Sandy?
Well,
you've got to cross your legs.
Perhaps Jared could come out and show us.
Come on, get out there.
Jared.
Get out there, come on.
Okay, let's talk about changes that you'd like to see in the game.
Yes.
And one in particular that I'm sure is going to be a pretty contentious issue with the panel. The advantage rule has been much talked about, has it not?
Sponsored by Mitsubishi Motors.
Here's young Alistair Scott. Terrific leap here. Very clean hands.
And look at the courage shown here by Mark McQueen of the Tigers. Running back with the flight. Oh, he could have been cleaned up at top mark that.
And here's Dean Kemp. Intercepts here with a one hand, and then with great agility has made the second lunge for the second grab.
Now the lion-hearted big Roger Merritt. Have a look at this in the pack. Coming from the back in the middle. Oh, good mark to the big fella at full forward for the Bears.
And here's another one-hander, followed by a dive. Great agility here, as we know Derek Kickett, the Magic Man, has always shown us.
Now the second best fullback in the competition is Gary Pert, as shown there with that terrific mark at the back.
And here's another Collingwood man, young Severio Rocker. He's out-positioned Anthony Danaher there, who didn't show enough body positioning strength.
Shane Crawford, the youngster from Assumption College, back with the flight, top mark.
Well, here's Stephen Kernahan. Once he stopped the flight of the ball, well, really the rest of it was easy, but the first part was quite difficult.
And the much maligned Billy Brownless. Very strong overhead, a good pack mark, that one.
And Gary Hocking, it's not often you see the taller man beaten so easy, particularly when it's a guy called Stoneham. Great leap by Gary Hocking.
Tony Modra in his purple patch there at Football Park, that was a classical mark.
And Brad Rose shows terrific courage here, and he knocked out his teammate, I think. Had good self-protection as well there.
Now Greg Doyle took the place of Jimmy Steins on the ball, and another good mark in the pack.
Well, in such a galaxy of marks here, that's regulation stuff for Wayne Carey. He's a sensational overhead man.
Now again, courage shown here. Look at this, Tim McGrath. Oh, that is an excellent mark. And you dread that when you're a footballer, Ron, going back with the flight and the pack coming towards you.
I always used to trip at the start. No, just trip at the start, then you didn't have to worry about that.
You were so far in front of the pack, it didn't matter, Peter.
Well, that was very... Who?
You!
Only when Cowboy Neil and Ray Biffin were chasing me, I was always 10 metres in front. And where's Lofts?
He knew nothing about overhead.
I know, never took one in his life. Anyway, the winner's Tony Modra, a classical full forwards mark.
Yes, fine performance by the young South Australian, and he's having a great start to the season. From the marks to the goals.
The goal of the week and the goal of the year are proudly sponsored by BP.
Well, the first today is over in the West, and this man's got incredible skill. Peter Sumich.
Barry Mitchell, the high-priced recruit, here he comes, showing some of his skill, a lovely left foot swing back over the shoulder goal.
The big fellow, he's got great athleticism, mobility. Here he is, Salmon, getting down. Did he look at the goals? But that doesn't matter, it counted, and he's jubilant.
This fella never looks at the goals. The Macedonian marvel, here he goes, look. He's out of the game, follows up. Now he doesn't have to look, just swings it back, straight through, bisecting the centre.
Now this is a good goal. It's fairly elementary, but the fact is Williams goes onto the left foot, and normally a right foot kick, and for anybody looking in, you've got to be two-sided.
And here's Buddha not being a Buddha, but in fact straying, drove through and showing his strength and kicking a magnificent goal.
Cross legs.
The Geelong youngster, Willison, just getting the ball out of the pack. I don't know if he could do that again, but through it goes.
And as Sandy said, I hope this fella doesn't get himself into a knot, this piece of string, with this marvellous bit of work that he's doing here. Look, firing away, coming back, beating Andrew Jarman, whose hair's over his ears. There he goes, straight through with a magnificent left foot kick.
This man had a sensational day. He kicked some beautiful goals in the first half, and he really kept them going. There's McAdam, roving that hit out.
And a nice goal here by Dean Grigg. Look, finds himself up space, kicks nicely and puts it through. Now Don, Well, having the marvellous selection today.
Well, it was unanimous, wasn't it, Bob?
Yes.
It was over in South Australia on Friday night. Jamie Elliott, at a critical time of the game, it was terrific. Look at the way that he takes off after the ball. Here he comes, in front. And listen, this game was really tight. If you didn't tune and see, at this stage, important goal coming up, and he gets collected.
But puts it straight through. Magnificent goal.
His fine performance by Jamie Elliott as we check the progressives at the moment, and Modra leading the way after bagging 6 on Friday night. He's on 22, 3 ahead of his nearest rival in Jason Dunstall. A couple of games this afternoon, gentlemen. Sydney play Essendon, the Eagles play Brisbane. 2-word answers, please.
Expectant.